Hello and happy Saturday. So, I am actually all done with harvest and washing everything and getting it packed up. That's mostly true. Tomorrow we will be cutting arugula. I didn't quite get to that today. So, one of the, I don't know if this is interesting for you guys, but interesting for me is that we are now at the point in the season where me getting up and being outside at 6 o'clock doesn't actually serve me that great of a purpose, because it's cool enough outside that it's too cold in here to start cutting things at 6 o'clock. So previously, when it would be a little bit warmer outside and it would warm up in here quite a bit earlier, the goal was like get up early, get everything harvested, have stuff packed in like totes and in the fridge and stuff like that, and then wash, pack throughout the rest of the morning. But the goal was to cut it like as early as possible. And so now, because we're flipped into the season, it's like, oh, get up and wait a little while. So we came out this morning and took the frost fabric off of both tunnels. It was still frosty underneath. So then went inside, had some breakfast, drank some coffee, read a book, and came back out and started harvesting around 8 o'clock or so. And so we're done for now. I have a little bit of stuff to do tomorrow with arugula, but that's a long story to tell you that. So this is week 4 of the CSA. This is the second to last week, which is pretty crazy in my opinion. Funny. I just found some rubber bands out here. I don't know when those are from. A couple of weeks ago. We're in week 4, so this is our second to last share. I hope that you have been enjoying the veggies that have been coming your way, and that this has been a fun experience for you. It's been good on our side. It's been a great season, another learning season for us, because this is our second year operating out of both high tunnels and doing the CSA, and so we're seeing what things work well, what things don't, what we need to adjust and keep growing better, hopefully year after year. If you're getting eggs with your CSA, you're getting eggs with your CSA. If you're getting meat, this week it is breakfast sausage links. So with Thanksgiving right around the corner, we kept the pork side of things a little bit light since we've had a heavier couple of weeks with pork. But at any rate, those are the things coming with that. I sent you a text already with the veggie share information, but to kind of run through that again, I'm going to run through the veggies. I actually have some videos with a little background music behind it that I will drop in following this video, just so you can see how different stuff is moving and shaking in here. But the things coming in your share this week include lettuce, and the lettuce this time is that red butterhead, and so it's that larger kind of cupped leaf, very buttery in texture, which is where it gets its name from. It's just a really gentle kind of lettuce. So if you're having salads this Thanksgiving, I hope you enjoy. You'll have a bag that's got a mixture. Well, I don't know if I'm doing it in one bag yet or two, honestly. I'm probably going to mix them together, but spinach and arugula. It just depends on how much it ends up shaking out to be. If it's too much for one bag, I'll split them up. But spinach and arugula, and then a head of cabbage. So that's something new and different that we haven't had quite yet. A head of cauliflower. And some of these heads are legitimately bigger than my entire head. It's been a crazy good year for cauliflower. I don't know what we did, but it's been a good one. We probably didn't do anything. It probably was just everything aligning. So lettuce, spinach and arugula, cauliflower, rutabagas. Rutabagas are new this time as well, and I'll talk about those in just a minute when I give some ideas for how to use things. And then the last one, I really apologize. I should know this off the top of my head like nobody's business, but I don't. I'm going to have to look at stuff to see. Cabbage, cauliflower, rutabaga. Oh, maybe that's it. Honey. Okay, honey, I'm sorry. I'm kind of losing my mind. I'm surrounded by all these vegetables and I'm not remembering what's going on because I see a bunch of different things. That's the excuse. So anyway, I'll drop some videos in so that you can see this, and then I'll pick up and maybe talk about some of the ways that you can use the veggies in your share this week. All right, so sometimes I get distracted and I was out here going, I'm gonna come out and close up the tunnels, put the fabric back on, and I'll do that video real quick. And I get out here, start recording, get that part done, and then start to walk to close stuff up and realize I didn't clean up from earlier. I need to go get my trash bin for compost and actually clean up. So before I get too carried away with that, because we gotta get a move on, just want to run through a couple of things to do with your veggies this week. Or at least a couple of ideas. So cabbage. Cabbage, I don't know, is most people's favorite vegetable. I know that before we started growing it, I wasn't really a huge cabbage eater, like didn't necessarily hate it, but it wasn't anything that I bought for sure. So a couple of things that are maybe easy to do. One I have done before myself, one is on a menu that's like, that sounds really delicious. I think I'll try that whenever I harvest a cabbage for myself. The first one is to cut your cabbage, like cut it in half, take the core out, chop it, like rough chop, kind of like chunky pieces. If you want them a little more bite-sized, you can. But ultimately, you're going to take bacon or something kind of in the bacon family. We have jowl from our pigs that I use for stuff like this because it's got a lot of like fat content and a lot of flavor content, but it's not as meaty as bacon is. So whether you use bacon or something like jowl, sausage, that would work too. But essentially saute that. You could use onions, garlic also, and then throw in your chopped cabbage once the bacon and stuff is mostly cooked. It will add the flavor of those things to your cabbage, salt, pepper, all that good seasoning. I would just say perhaps watch how long you're cooking it, because cabbage will cook down and the texture of it will get very, very soft. And if that's not your thing, then, just watch that part of it. Something that I have not yet tried myself, but whenever I was looking online, I always look at recipes for the different ingredients that we grow here, was essentially taking your cabbage and cutting it into wedges. So you could quarter it if your cabbage is a little bit smaller, sixth it if it seems like it's too large in that regard. But it was brushing it with olive oil, throwing it into the oven and roasting it for a little bit. And then near the end of roasting time, adding Parmesan cheese on it and throwing it back under the roaster or the broiler and letting that crisp up a little bit. And I thought that sounded like a nice little way to have it as a side dish, and also not necessarily a way to have to babysit it. So whenever I'm cooking, I'm always looking at like, what kind of attention does that need from me? If I can throw something in the oven and let it cook that way and not really have to pay attention to it, then that's always a bonus. So that will be for cabbage. Cauliflower. Cauliflower is a pretty common vegetable, I think at least. We eat cauliflower regularly. My mom has this really delicious recipe where it's a whole head that she roasts after seasoning it, and she uses like tahini sauce on it. I've actually never cooked it that way myself, but I've eaten it and it was really good. So if you'd like that recipe, let me know and I'd be happy to send it to you. It was something that was kind of more like if you're just a smaller household, then perhaps you might not want to cook your whole head that way because it would be a lot to eat in one sitting. It wasn't something that like kept super, super well. We are big eaters of steamed vegetables, cauliflower, broccoli, carrots. Those are pretty regulars. I don't steam my vegetables too terribly long because frankly the texture of it gets gross to me. So that's an easy weeknight way to handle something like cauliflower. I also am a big fan of sauteing or roasting it. Olive oil, salt, pepper, garlic, whether you're throwing it into the pan on your stove or on the cookie sheet, and roasting it in the oven. Those are easy kind of side dishes, and a nice way to use it up. And if you go ahead and chop all of it, then you might be able to just address a few meals that way, rather than having to mess with something different every single night. And then we already know about lettuce. We're not going to talk about lettuce anymore. We already know about spinach and arugula, so I'm not going to talk really about those things either. Rutabaga. Rutabaga is a root vegetable. It has a similar look as a turnip, kind of like a little purpley kind of top, creamy colored bottom. Different taste than a turnip. Also, to me, a different texture than a turnip does. When I think about rutabagas, I think about almost like a potato substitute. Not because it tastes like a potato, but because you can cook it like a potato. So if it's something that you want to do what I call fried potatoes, whenever I do eggs, sometimes I'll do fried potatoes on the side, and you could do a fried rutabaga. So, cut the rutabaga in half. First, peel it. You do have to peel the outer layer of these. It is a tougher skin because it's a root vegetable. Peel it, cut it in half, and then cut it into little half moons. I take those little half moons that are probably yay thick, I don't know what that is, 1/4 of an inch, and throw them into a fry pan and fry those bad boys up. They're delicious on the side with eggs. Also, if you're doing something like sausages, bratwurst, something like that, then they'd be really good like that too. Mashed rutabaga is another option. So just like you would do mashed potatoes by peeling them, cubing them, boiling them, and then mashing them up. I've seen them where they've been pretty dressed up with like sour cream and chives and cheese, all kinds of good stuff, but essentially mashed rutabaga. The flavor of rutabaga to me is sweeter than a potato would be. Not like a sweet potato, but it tastes like the blend of a cabbage and a turnip. And you may be going, ew, I don't like that. But hopefully you'll try it and perhaps you will like it. A way that you can sweeten it up a little bit more is you could do something like a roasted rutabaga. Love roasting root vegetables. Again, chop it in some thickness that's going to roast in a time frame that you want to manage it. You can toss it in olive oil. You could toss it in a mixture of olive oil and some of the honey you're receiving. And then season also with herbs, garlic, and throw that into the oven and roast. So that's cauliflower, rutabaga, cabbage. I feel like there's something else that I'm missing. Why am I having trouble remembering this? Anywho, I'm not missing anything except for my mind. I think that's everything that I wanted to kind of suggest. So, I hope that you've been enjoying this. Thank you for supporting the farm. It's been enjoyable for us. I'm not going to lie. I'm also going, all right, cool. We have 1 week left. But that's just kind of how the seasons go. By the end of the season, you're always welcoming in the next one, or at least I'm always sort of experiencing that. But I hope you have a great rest of your weekend. I hope you have a wonderful Thanksgiving, and thank you for supporting the farm and being part of the CSA. If you have questions, if you have comments, if you want to share a recipe or just a general idea, if you have any feedback also, like, hey, this would be really cool if you were able to do this differently with the CSA. I'm not ever sure that I'm going to be able to do those things. I don't know what next year's winter season looks like, but I'm always here to hear feedback and see what that does mean, because some of the things we did this year were based on the feedback we received last year, and so it's always kind of a growing space for us. I hope you have a great rest of your week. Happy Thanksgiving. See ya.